Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Year of Underrated Stephen King podcast, as well as the Danse Macabre with Kim C. This is our last and final double dip episode showcasing the King on film commentary we provide on the Danse Macabre with Kim C. We're doing a little bit of a crossover, a sample platter, because as you guys know in cooking, the first episode of a new series is typically like the first pancake. It's a little wonky, a little strange looking. You either shove it in your mouth and be done with it, or you throw it away. So I did want to do one last double dip episode and discuss with greater cohesion and organization what I thought about Welcome to Derry episode 2, The Thing in the Dark. As many Patreon supporters know, I typically start off these episodes with a recap of what happened in the episode, a concrete summary of what went down in terms of the plot. So before we do that, I did want to let you all know, I think I liked this one a little bit better than the previous episode. I've noticed that if we are looking at the scales of this episode, there is a lot more strengths than there are weaknesses. However, the weaknesses that are present are big. They are hefty. They weigh a lot. I am thinking about them and I am a little mad. We will get there in due time, but now let's go over really quickly before we start discussing what I noticed in episode 2. Let's begin things with a brief summary. In episode 2, the aftermath of the massacre at the theater continues to cast a long shadow on the town of Derry, Maine. Ronnie and Lily each grapple with trauma and guilt. Lily is haunted by what she witnessed, and Ronnie by her fractured sense of safety and her father Hank becoming the focus of suspicion. Meanwhile, new darkness stirs as the military side plot comes into sharper focus. Major Leroy Hanland learns of a covert mission in Derry, and that psychic operative Dick Halloran is involved, revealing layers behind the town's ominous events. The discovery of a car containing skeletons deepens the mystery and signals that the true threat is far more ancient and insidious than anyone realized. Always like a little bit of drama thrown in there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have about a dozen points to talk with you all about today. Once more, we are starting this episode with the Kim C treatment, which is positivity first and foremost. As I'm looking at this episode, I am highlighting everything that I liked. This is what we do in fiction. We dig and dig and dig for all the positives first. What is working well? Where is the strength? Then we will transition, in a matter of speaking, to areas of criticism or questions. What do we feel is not really working well? What problems do we have, etc.? So for the most part, this is going to be positive heavy up front, peppered with some criticism and questions throughout. Hopefully you all are aware I have the extra special privilege of having a guest host opportunity with host with the most, Scott Daly on Kingslingers. I love that guy to pieces. Sadly, Dr. Matt Freeman is not able to join him for the episode-by-episode coverage, so I am the luckiest understudy. So in a few hours, I'm actually going to record with Scott, and we are going to go even deeper into our analysis, because that's what happens. I'm doing the fiction teacher thing here on the Patreon, where I am celebrating all the good stuff first, asking questions, maybe highlighting a couple things that ruffled my feathers. And then with Scott, who has the most amazing perspective on things, we're going subdermal, everybody. We are going deeper, deeper, deeper into the grout, into the cracks. It is great stuff. So this is almost like my warm-up. This is me getting into the water with my floaties, trying to get my bearings, really look at the episode 360 and just figure out, okay, generally, in broad terms, how I feel about it. And then I get really nitpicky with Scott Daly. It is a grand time over here in Stephen King podcast world. But yes, on with the show. Let's begin with our very first topic, our new intro song. All right, ladies and gentlemen, episode 2 introduces the intro song, and I love it. What an absolute delight. The art design is very 1950s, Norman Rockwell-esque. But what's very interesting is as we're watching these colored illustrations, the POV is pulling us backwards. So we're actually getting pulled away from the images. It's really trippy. It's very cool. So we see these seemingly lovely domestic American illustrations, but after a few seconds, something sinister starts to creep into these lovely colored portraits of seemingly domestic suburban American life. We see the Bradley gang shooting. We've got the Kitchener Ironworks explosion on Easter Day with bloody children and fire. All the while, we have this really disarming, sweet little xylophone tune with a child's voice singing. It is a wonderful amalgamation. I really like it, guys. It is charming, freaky. The colors are beautiful. The art design is great. I really, really like the intro song. Number 2. Whoa, guys, they're really dead. Oh, geez. Oh, Pete. Okay, so last week we talked about the big climax of episode 1, the pilot, is that we have the characters of Maddie Clements, Teddy Uris, Phil, and Susie Malkin are dead. Dead, ain't coming back, dead. Because I think a lot of us out there thought to ourselves, maybe they made it, maybe they survived. So I really enjoy that they are dead in terms of storytelling because it's shocking and I feel like I got tricked, but in a good way. Because I think in the pilot episode, some of the elements I didn't like is that the characters that they introduced to us, Teddy, Phil, Maddie, they were very, very loud echoes of the Losers Club, who we love from It Chapter 1, specifically speaking of the Andy Muschietti cast, who are alive and well and in school in the 1980s. These kids in 1962 were really, really close to being the new Losers Club in the past, if that makes sense. There's a lot of paradoxical things going on when you're trying to describe what's going on with casting. But anyway, I was a little ticked because I was wondering why the writers were so lazy as to just copy paste. You guys know I was pretty loud about that. And then we begin this episode with everybody dead. And it just makes the stakes really high for all the characters. It throws off the viewers, myself included, readers of the book and our expectations. It feels like we're on spin cycle and I kind of like it. I like that they ain't coming back, guys, unless we see them in the undead form. But yeah, those kids did not make it. They are dead, and it casts a more ominous tone, kicking off episode 2, which leads me to point number 3. A tonal shift into the dark heart of racism. Once more, episode 2 drags us down into a grittier, more uncomfortable place tonally. I think in the first episode with our mutant baby monster, I think the CGI, I don't know how it does this, but it gives it a cutesy, monstery kind of feeling. It was a compelling opening scene with Maddie Clements in the station wagon with all that, the bat baby birth and all those things. But then all of a sudden episode 2 starts and we're dealing with very real issues. One of the first scenes we see in the episode is the Derry cops outside of the home of Mr. Grogan, the film projectionist, and the viewer learns they're thinking about going after him. The next scene is Ronnie Grogan overhears her father and grandmother arguing about how bad of a situation they're in. The drama is quickly afoot, guys. The conflict is in place and everything feels very serious now because the Grogans are a black family. In the first part of the episode, I'm very eager to observe what they're going to do with it. I am nervous for them at the start of the episode, and that tension is carried throughout. Later on in the episode, we feel the racism further when we have a scene inside the Falcon Tavern, I believe, if my notes are correct. And we've got Dick Halloran and 2 other black gentlemen who are just having a couple beers, being social. and it becomes quickly apparent that they're not welcome and they need to leave. And we have this moment where the camera zooms in on Hallorann's face, and you could tell the shine is a shine-in, and he is picking up something negative and bad, and he tells his friends, we gotta go. And so I felt the tension and the fear for those guys. And I find it fascinating that episode 2 is not playing around with the progressive ideals from episode 1. As you guys remember, we had that racist subordinate officer in the Air Force with Major Leroy, and then General Shaw says, oh, we'll have that guy on latrine duty. We don't want any of that racist stuff in our military, blah, 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 blah. So the viewer is slightly disarmed by that, thinking, okay, maybe they're not going to overtly be in our face about it. Maybe it's going to have a more progressive direction. Well, according to episode 2, not so much. The additional fears of racism we feel is at the dinner table with Charlotte and Major Leroy when they're talking about, quote, what happened in Shreveport when they got a brick through their car window. So they have already encountered terrible things, moving to Derry for hopefully a fresh start, and we as the viewer are hoping that it stays that way, but there is so many ominous moments in this episode, I'm not sure. I'm very, very nervous for the Hanlands already. And then the last scene that I want to bring up in this category about racism, I don't know how far this stretches, but in the last half of the episode, we have Ronnie and Will Hanland in detention. They are the only children of color, seemingly, in the school, and they're both ostracized and punished, and they're in detention. This is a humorous, sweet scene between Ronnie and Will. It's lovely to see them interact despite their circumstances. And Ronnie owns her guilt, which is very charming. But yeah, guys, I think throughout this episode, the civil rights coming into question is right in front of the viewer's eyes. So I'm excited to talk more about this with Scott and how exactly we feel it's being carried out, because there was a lot of dark tonal shifts showing the viewer, oh yeah, there's actually going to be a lot of racism in Derry. You just maybe got a fake out from the U.S. Air Force that maybe they're not super racist, but in Derry, oh, they're very racist. So I don't know. We'll unpack that a little bit more as we go. Number 4, welcome Charlotte and Will Hanland. I am in love with them both. Casting is so dang good, y'all. Okay, one of the early scenes in this episode is Charlotte and Will arriving, I'm assuming from Shreveport, Louisiana. Charlotte is played by an actress named Taylor Page. Oh my goodness, I'm smitten kitten, friends. She is so beautiful. It's more than just physical beauty. She is a stunner, but she's elegant and regal and soft. There's just this lovely grace and femininity about her. She looks amazing in the costumes. I just feel casting is 10 out of 10 with Charlotte. I love her so much. I love watching her in every scene. I'm nervous for her. I am in awe of her bravery and her brazenness because she is not backing down. We see her break up those boys fighting. We see her going on her errands with purpose, looking everybody in the eye. She is unafraid. She is a Hanland who will make her stand, and I love that. And we haven't even really had anything happen yet with the Hanlands, but I'm already prepared for awesomeness with Charlotte. I love her so much. Next, oh my God, this little angel, Will Hanland, who is the father of Mike Hanland, is played by an actor named Blake Cameron James. Oh my God, guys, he is the cutest, most adorable little angel. And side tangent, whatever biological clock I have, man, it started ticking with this sweet little baby. Guys, he is so cute. I can't even. I am bursting over here. His smile, his zest for life, and unfortunately, to my great devastation, he is not having a successful time in school, and I want to smack the hell out of every single person who is mean to Will Hanland. I want to choke some people, guys. He is the most precious little lamb. I want to hug this kid so tightly. And I also love him because Will seems like he's going to be more of a bookish youth, not so much into sports, and that is okay. It makes me love him all the more. He's going to be a book kid, a science kid. And oh my God, speaking of circling back to the detention scene, I almost cried. I don't know why. I just love this little boy so much. He was talking to Ronnie and he says, maybe I'm just covered in stardust. What? And he smiles with his little dimples. I think I got tears in my eyes. He is so sweet. All the people who are mean to Will Hanland, I want them dead. Never mind Pennywise, I'll kill them myself. Like, how dare you be rude to this little angel? I will kill you. I will. So that's how I feel about Will Hanland and his mom, Charlotte. I am obsessed. I love them. They are such a breath of fresh air. Oh my goodness. Big fan immediately. Number 5. Derry High School it is, I guess. Okay, folks. Well, there is an outside shot of the sign that says Derry High School. And my dudes, I have a problem with this because all of our cast, our still living cast of Lily, Ronnie, Will, that new sweet little guy we meet at the end who has a crush on Margie, even Margie and her gang of gals. I'm sorry, freshmen in high school, 14, no. I am not working well with this. Everybody looks really, really young, especially Will Hanland. He is not 14. 14 is 9th grade, and they are not in 9th grade. No way, Jose. Unless we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe Derry High School is one of those all-encompassing schools where it's like K through 8th grade or something like that, where maybe it's just everybody at one school. But no, it seems like a proper secondary school where it's 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. That's a traditional American high school. I know some districts do 6th, 7th, and 8th as middle school, or 7th and 8th. It's weird, but guys, I have a problem with the sign saying Derry High School. If it said Derry Middle, perfection. But I'm wondering if they did that in It Chapter 1. That might have been a detail I missed. If someone could let me know if it's always been Derry High and they're just very young little freshmen. Okay. But I'm sorry, guys. Will Hanland, that sweet baby precious, he's not a freshman. I would be shocked. Come on, no. So, okay. I guess we're supposed to believe they're in high school. I don't know about this. Number 6. Marge is getting a lot of screen time for a side character. So a lot of her scenes are cringe comedic. She is awkward with her little crazy eyes and her big glasses and her desperation and contrived funniness with the popular girls. What is her deal? What is going on? Why is she so desperate? We don't know anything about her aside from the fact that she is so desperate to belong with the quote popular girls. But she is friends with Lily. She knows Ronnie, I think. But yeah, I would like more data on Margie because she is stealing a lot of screen time, but we don't have any concrete character data, and that needs to change. We need some data on her because I have a feeling she's going to be slotted into one of the Losers Club positions or one of the people that's going to join the group to fight Pennywise. Just an assumption. We're just planning for the future. So I'm really wondering a lot about the character of Marge or Margie in episode 2. Number 7. Costumes, set design, and props are on point. Oh my goodness, everybody. This show is stunning. And what I love about their real big budget to make it look great, every frame where there is color, we have the following scenes I'm going to share with you blew my mind with how beautiful they are, guys. Oh my gosh. And what I'm celebrating is that they have somebody or somebodies on payroll who are thinking about this, planning for this. This is indicative of forethought and design, and that is such a triumph in a king work. In this king work, to be specific, they are making Derry and its citizens vivid and alive and eye-catching, artistic. Oh my gosh, it is something to celebrate. It is so good. First of all, Again, small potatoes, but I'm noticing everything. Will Hanland's wallpaper in his brand new bedroom. It's a Western cowboy setting. Stunning. I was instantly obsessed. I want it in my house. Maybe a bathroom, but I just love the decor. When we walk into a room as the viewer, there's just vivid life and immersion, and that's what we want. And Welcome to Derry is just firing on all cylinders, and then they really ramp up in the lunchroom. If you guys remember, this is when all of the girls are chit-chatting with Margie. She's being weird, trying to make them laugh, but if you look at their little cardigans, every single girl is wearing a different colored pastel cardigan, and it looks like the Candyland game board, everyone. It is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And then, because, again, more intention and design, the camera shifts to Ronnie and Lily, who are sitting in front of each other. Ronnie and Lily are wearing darker jewel tone cardigans, teal, deep brown. They're not in pastels like the other girls. So color is a language when it's done well, guys, and it speaks, it adds to every single scene. And I think in this scene, it is showing the viewer these two girls, Ronnie and Lily, are a part of something darker and deeper. They have been exposed to something that has set them aside from these other girls who are in this untouched state of being. They haven't seen the blood and the death and the horror and the uncertainty that Lily and Ronnie have seen. Therefore, Lily and Ronnie will wear darker colors. The other thing that's a triumph, Lily's little lunch plate, guys, her lunch tray. We have multicolored, cohesive elements on there. Red Jell-O with whipped cream, peas, carrots, fish sticks, and that goopy mashed potato, whatever. But all of the colors are bright and vivid. Somebody is thinking about it. Somebody is on payroll making sure it looks good, and I could not be happier. This is how it should be for an HBO level show. Beautiful. Every frame is thought out, engaging to the eye, pushing the plot forward. This is what we want. Oh my God, it's so good. And lastly, let's talk about the grocery store. So over the weekend, I did plug in, after my Halloween Candies stupor, I just had It from 1990 playing as I was doing some chores. I jumped into It Chapter 1 as well as It Chapter 2. And in It Chapter 1, with the kids at Keen's Pharmacy, I think that Muschietti was starting to do what we're seeing beautifully executed in the grocery store. In Keen's Pharmacy, the labels are perfect, all in a row, vivid and bright. We have that one isolated shot when Beverly is looking at the wall of Tampax tampons. They're pristine, they're all in a row, and then we get this to the 10th power in the grocery store with Lily Bainbridge. All of the labels are, for the most part, the real deals from that time period. These are vintage signs. They are bright, straight. The grocery store is a work of art. We're going to celebrate more from the grocery store, but man, just looking at the labels, every turn of the camera, every wall of product, it was so thought out. Color cohesion. Oh man, it's stunning. It's stunning to look at, and that's important. I don't know if we have that very often in a King show, but we've got it here, and I am not going to be quiet about it because it is great. Number 8, more of the town of Derry in focus. So in episode 1, I think there was a heavy focus on the kids. This time, I feel we're really getting into the life of Derry. We see this with the character of Charlotte walking downtown. We see some close-ups of the townspeople, some greasers, the barber, Mr. Kirsch the butcher. Which, everybody, how do we feel he's related to Mrs. Kirsch? Because remember, in It Chapter 2, Mrs. Kirsch is the scary, creepy monster lady who lives in Beverly's old house. It's a very compelling scene in the novel, and it's really scary in It Chapter 2. But we also learn as the viewer of It Chapter 2 that somehow Bob Gray / Pennywise is the father of Mrs. Kirsch. I don't know if Mr. Kirsch the butcher is the father of Mrs. Kirsch. Clearly not. So, uncle? Maybe? Grandfather? No, because that won't work timeline-wise, right? Because the Bob Gray Pennywise stuff is the early 1900s around the Kitchener Iron Works time, which I think was 1906. Yeah, they gotta plug some holes because my interest is very, very piqued. I'm curious how Mr. Kirsch is related. Anyway, the town is also pretty upset about the Paul Bunyan statue. They are throwing eggs, they're talking about it, they are not happy. Charlotte tries to intervene with the boys beating up that young kid, and there's this one little shit who looks at Charlotte with such disrespect. It is hauntingly ominous, guys. He stares her down, that hooligan little ape. Terrible. But Charlotte also goes into the antique shop. I believe it is the secondhand Rose. I think we have a pretty big Easter egg in there of Mr. King, who had a really nice cameo in it, Chapter 2. She speaks with the owner, who is native, which I'm very curious about, because if you guys remember from it, Chapter 2, we have the Shokopiqua. I will memorize the name of the native tribe with greater accuracy for upcoming episodes, so I'm wondering if she's part of that tribe. I'm hoping that they tie that in somehow. I really, really hope so. But yeah, we saw a lot of Derry townspeople. We also spent some time with Clint Bowers, who is the sheriff. We're in that Falcon Tavern with some of the townspeople who really want him to arrest Mr. Grogan as the killer of those kids. So we are seeing a lot more Derry faces in this episode, which I really enjoyed. Number 9, Ronnie's bedroom terror scene. Okay, guys. Wow. This scene was tremendous. This is an absolute triumphantly scary sequence where Ronnie is asleep in her bed, trying to sleep. I think she's awakened by her father and grandmother arguing again. She pulls the covers over her head, and then the bed sheets become a suffocating red-pink membrane. And then she starts to drown in this fluid until she is literally birthed out. And then the viewer sees there is a veiled black woman who we learn is Ronnie's mother, who births her with this stomach full of sharp teeth and says, "You tore me up, Ronnie. You killed me like you killed those kids, like you're gonna kill your father." Oh my God. And Ronnie is stuck to her own umbilical cord. And oh my God, we see this monster stomach trying to eat her. Terrifying, the eyes of Pennywise are in the stomach. And then Ronnie bites through her own umbilical cord to free herself. And then we can breathe. Her dad comes in. It was all a dream. Everything disappeared. She was covered in amniotic goo, and then when her dad arrives, she's fine. This was scary and amazing. And my boyfriend Andrew, who is Switzerland on his best day, it takes a lot to really wow him. At the end of that scene, he said, "Wow, that was A+. That was A+ horror right there." I couldn't agree more. My mouth was a giant O. I could not believe it. It was so cool. Very well done, very freaky. Lots of layers. I'm very curious about the second birth scene we have, guys. We had a vaginal demon bat birth in episode 1, and now we have an additional Ronnie birth. Is this a coinkydink? Is it something deeper? Unknown, but I loved the hell out of that scene. Number 10, where are they getting the moonshine? So I have a question, everybody. This is in reference to the scene where Dick Halloran and his two buddies have left the Falcon Tavern, and then the next time we see them, they are a little schnockered. They are drunk, and they are at the entrance of the Air Force Base. And one of the guys, one of Halloran's friends, has a very full jar of hooch. This is a very full jar of moonshine. That would kill somebody. That is so much moonshine. I don't know where he got it, but he just tosses it right in front of the gate. So I'm asking you military folk out there, because I don't know a lot about the MPs, but wouldn't you get in trouble for being intoxicated in general, or is it just paraphernalia and or alcohol on base is what gets you in trouble? So I probably should have researched this on the side, but I'd rather just ask servicemen and women out there. If you want to be so kind and message me, you can let me know if that is accurate, where you could just throw your hooch right in front of some bushes before the MPs, or would you in fact be in trouble for just being intoxicated? Is it different from base to base? Is it different between branches of the armed forces? Are some more strict than others? I have heard, and if you are an Air Force member, please forgive me right this second and do not take offense to what I'm about to say, but I have heard from some coworkers of mine who have served in other branches of the military, they call it the chair force, because apparently, according to some, the U.S. Air Force has it pretty easy. I don't know this, don't kill me, don't come after me, I'm just saying what I've heard. Overall, ladies and gentlemen, I like this scene. It's funny, but that is a giant glass of moonshine, and he just tosses it right in front of the MP, no consequences. I'm wondering if that is legit, if that's realistic, or would you be in trouble for stumbling and bumbling up to the gate? Granted, Halloran and everybody did seem pretty composed when they were talking to the gate person / military police. I guess I just want a little bit of data on this, on the accuracy, because I like it, but a part of me is wondering if they actually would have been in a bit more trouble for being intoxicated. And the guy had to have seen him throw that moonshine glass, right? Anyway, just a scene that I was thinking about a little bit more. Number 11, Ronnie is a star. All right, lovelies, I just want to take a quick second and give a shout out to the actress named Amanda Christine who plays Ronnie Grogan. I think she's really something special. In this episode, she is in a lot of pain. She has scenes where she is screaming, crying, desperate, yelling at Lily because she feels so powerless. Well done, girlfriend. I am a fan. Just wanted to give you a shout out. Number 12, poor Lily. My heart really breaks for her in this episode. Not only do we have the grocery store scene, which we will discuss next, but this little girl was cornered by the cops, taken to the police station without an adult present, without a family member present, threatened, manipulated. She has no advocate, no lawyer. This is awful. This is abuse of power, and I hate it. This poor little girl. And this girl is driven to Juniper Hill by her mother. I am just feeling the pain for little Lily. She is very emotive with her emotional state. She seems so vulnerable to me. I really care about her. Clearly, like I said, circling back to one of my early points, casting is great, everybody. I am really pleased. I think everyone's doing really well thus far. But poor Lily. Oh my God, that scene. One of the final scenes we have in the episode is Lily's mother driving her to Juniper Hill. God, awful. Number 13, the grocery store scene. Oh my goodness, this was triumphant. This was really, really well done. Very creepy, looked great. As I mentioned, all the brand labels in every aisle were pristine and perfect and vivid. And then there was this older man slinking, skulking, stalking behind her. Super frightening. I hated it. It was so effective. Lily is hearing voices whispering behind her that she's crazy. The whole scene is a slow burn that builds until Lily is literally cornered and boxed in one of the aisles, surrounded by pickle jars, and there are pieces of her dead father in the pickle jars talking to her, everyone. Oh my God. And then all the pickle jars fall down and break open, and there's glass, and then this monster made up of her father coagulates and congeals into this blobby pickle monster. And here's where Kim C got really pissed off. This was electrifying. It looked great. It was so freaky. It was very uncomfortable. The dad is this pickle puddle of goo and slime and moving snaky eel parts. Well, then the tentacle wraps around Lily's neck. Guess what else happens, guys? They just had to. whoever signed off on this creative decision, I have a bone to pick with you. What did they do, everybody? They put it in her mouth. We have a very uncomfortable moment where this tentacle phallus goes into her mouth. And yes, it's the side of her mouth, but I don't give a shit. This was a phallus in her mouth. I don't care how you want to argue with me about it. You know what it is. I know what it is, and I'm mad about it. Granted, before I get too heated, as a fiction teacher, as somebody who understands the arts, let's be objective first. Okay, objectivity first. I understand this was a creative decision. This was a choice that the script writers, the showrunners made. I think that they wanted to indicate how evil Pennywise is and how he will pervert and distort and corrupt any sacred memory, any special thing, family bonds, anything that's pure and holy for that matter. He's going to shit all over it and make it awful. So I understand that that's what was happening there. Objectively, I can see that. I can identify that. However, Lily, in 2 episodes, we have learned her father died tragically. Her mother doesn't care about her, does not advocate for her. She's basically alone. She saw her friends murdered. Her friend Maddie disappeared. She saw dead fingers in the drain. Been institutionalized at Juniper Hill. So that's like 6 things on my finger of how tragic this girl is. And you have to do one extra little thing by sexually exploiting and assaulting her with the tentacle that belonged to her father. She did not deserve that. That was gross and a low blow. And granted, it's the side of her mouth because it could have went full porno. But I'm sorry, take your hentai tentacle porn bullshit out of here with this little girl. I am a woman first, and I am fire-ass mad about that. You should not have done that. That is bullshit, and screw you all. It was already around her neck. She was already terrified and screaming. You did not have to put it in her mouth. So screw you all. I'm very pissed off. I have been really mad for the last 72 hours, and today I woke up thinking, I think I'm okay. We can let it go. No, I'm not going to let it go. I'm really mad about it. So that's how I feel, ladies and gentlemen. I am offended. It's okay that I'm offended because that's their aim. They want to make us uncomfortable. I understand that. However, I hated this. I hated it. That was a poor decision. It was in poor taste. It went too far because this girl is already suffering immensely. You did not have to do that to her. I'm upset. If it happens again, we're going to have some problems. I'm going to write a strongly worded letter. And I will reach out to Muschietti himself. I really will. I will lose it, everybody. Anyway, boiling it down, the grocery store scene was tremendous. Up until the tentacle. And where they put it, Kim C is very unhappy about that. Our last point, everybody. I'm going to lightly touch on this because I know for a fact, I know Scott Daly is going to maul this. He is going to rip this thing open and I can't wait. But my last point in our exploration in Welcome to Derry episode 2, a government-backed fear weapon. Okay guys, here's our big can of mess. We have a scene with Halloran where he's up in what looks like a little bit of an eagle's nest perch up there. It looks tree, housey, clubby, an aerial view, and he's looking down on a dig site. He has a higher-ranking officer come up and chat with him. Halloran is not looking good, feeling weak, and the verbal exchange between he and the higher-ranking officer is that this is the 4th dig site that the Air Force has engaged in, and they're trusting Halloran to find something. And Halloran says they're close. And I just felt immediate dread with this. One of the other big plot points is Major Leroy and the attack he had by those 3 guys in scuba masks. Major Leroy and his own very astute detective abilities realize that the guy that they pinned it on was very, very innocent because of the Makarov PM, which is a Soviet style, I believe, assuming the word Makarov makes it a Soviet weapon, which is very hard to handle, even for the most savviest of marksmen. Long story short, Leroy speaks with General Shaw, who tells him, oh yeah, that attack was planned. You have been tricked. Here's why. The Cubans and the Soviets are planning nuclear war against the U.S. And according to the general, in quotes, this is their only hope. It is called Operation Precept. It's from the Department of Defense. It is a Cold War mission in which they are in search of a weapon. Quote, something that was buried in Derry a long time ago. And it, quote, generates debilitating fear in anyone who comes near it, and can scare a man bad enough to kill him where he stands. It is also surrounded on all sides by, quote, a group of objects and or beacons, end quote. Ladies and gentlemen, my brain melted out of my skull. Full transparency, I did have a little bit of a preview / spoiler because I was chit-chatting with the wonderful and amazing Eric Vespi on Kingcast. They have seen a bunch of episodes already because it's their job and they've got to get ready for their coverage. But Vespi did mention he was a little unsure with one of the plot points and he let a little tiny detail out. So I did have an idea that the government was involved in Derry. That was about all I knew. So then when I finally saw the pieces put together with this weapon, oh dear, everybody. I don't know about this, guys. I think it sounds really stupid. I said it. There you go. It sounds stupid. This is not Raiders of the Lost Ark. Pennywise is not something you can encapsulate and throw at Cubans or Soviets. That's not how this works. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to unpack this in far greater detail with Scott Daly, who is all over it. He is all over it like white on rice, everybody. I really want to hear what Scott thinks about this, but this is dumb, y'all. This is dumb, and I'm very concerned with where they're going with this. This does not seem like it's going to work, and it seems really stupid, but we're just going to put the bookmark here today, everybody. We're just going to say, okay, this is what we learned. I am concerned. I think it sounds stupid, but maybe it might be, I don't know. So that's all I want to talk about today in terms of that final point. Let's do a big recap of all the points we covered today. Number 1, our new intro song. So cool. Big fan. Love the little xylophone and the little kids singing. Creepy and great. Number 2, whoa guys, they are really dead. Actually, they are. Maddie Clements, Teddy Uris, Phil and Susie Malkin. I don't think they're coming back. And it's a good thing. I was tricked and I liked it. Number 3, a tonal shift into the dark heart of racism. Number 4, welcome Charlotte and Will Hanland. I am in love with them both. Number 5, Derry High School it is, even though those are the youngest freshmen I've ever seen in my life. Number 6, Marge is getting a lot of screen time for a side character. I'm ready to have more demographic data on that one. Number 7, costume, set design, and props are on point. Oh man, Will Hanland's wallpaper, the lunchroom, the girls in their cardigans, and the difference between the popular girls and Ronnie and Lily, Lily's lunch tray, and of course the grocery store labels. A thing of beauty. Beauty everywhere. Number 8, more of the town in Derry in focus. We met a lot of people in this episode, saw a lot of new faces. Number 9, Ronnie's bedroom terror scene. Wow, 10 out of 10. Number 10, where are they getting the moonshine? This whole moonshine military police scene I'd like to unpack further. Number 11, Ronnie is a star. Huge shout out to the actress Amanda Christine for her performance in this week's episode. Number 12, poor Lily. She is going through it. Number 13, the grocery store scene. Loved it up until they put a tentacle where it should not have gone. Number 14, a government-backed fear weapon. Oh, guys, I don't know. I don't want to talk too much. We're just going to say yikes for right now. And that's all I have, ladies and gentlemen. As I mentioned previously, this is the last Double Dip episode. All future episodes on the It Welcome to Derry miniseries will be on the Patreon, the Danse Macabre with Kim C. It would be so nice if you could join us at patreon.com/dancewithkimc, that's dance with an S, where I have other Stephen King series on film. This summer, I covered the brand new Institute on MGM+. I also watched The Stand 2020. There's short story stuff on there, lots of fun stuff. It's a very lively community. I think you'll have a really good time, and I would love to have you dig up it Welcome to Derry further with us on the Patreon. So thank you so very much for checking out these Double Dip episodes, getting a nice sample of what I do over there, and I hope you are enjoying the new HBO miniseries Where We Are in the Dark Heart of Derry, seeing how they're creatively executing this. I was very pleased this episode, but we'll see if they could keep up that momentum. We'll see if the scales tip in the direction of more negative rather than positive, but I don't know. I'm really liking a lot more than I'm disliking, which is a good thing. We shall celebrate that going forward. If you would like to reach out to me at any point in time to say hello, I would love that. You could reach me on Instagram, Threads. Those are the socials I'm on the most, as well as BlueSky. You can also send me a traditional email at underratedsk@gmail.com, where I would love to chit-chat with you about your history with Stephen King, what you think of the new Welcome to Derry miniseries, or anything else you want to talk about. I shall respond back to you promptly. Thank you guys very much for checking us out. Take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye-bye.